So hi everyone, and a really warm welcome to this video. So as you can see, it's festive season, so I've been making arrangements of Christmas and festive songs for my own pupils, and I'd like to share one with you, and that's an arrangement of Auld Syne. It's for beginner, early, intermediate guitarists, and if you like the score in both notes and tab, it's available via the video description. So what I'm going to do in this film is firstly I'll just play you the arrangement, and then I'll play it far more slowly. I'll break it right down and talk to you about some of the musical technical elements which you'll need to take on board. So here to start us off is Auld Syne. So here are a few thoughts regarding that arrangement. The first thing to take on board is that if you look at the score, you'll see that there are never any notes played at the first fret. So what I'd advise is that you play this in second position, and by that I mean that your index finger is going to play the notes at the second fret, which means the low G, string 6 fret 3, can be played with your middle finger, finger 2, and your third finger can be playing the D, which is string 2, fret 3. So you can set your hand up in that position. Maybe just get used to lifting off finger 3. Your index then is going to play the notes at the second fret. It's going to play A and G, that's string 3, fret 2 and open respectively, and then the same thing on the fourth string. So just get used to going, and that'll set you up for the whole first half. So once you've got the left hand established, we can think about the right hand. Now there's a concept here which is quite complex, but it's something I really believe in, and it's a habit I think is good to instill in your fingers. You'll notice that I use my thumb to play the notes obviously, but also once I've played a note, the thumb will transfer to another string and will rest there. We want to avoid resting it on the string we've just struck, because that will cancel out the note. But we'll go to another string, and what that means is when I play with the fingers, the hand's nice and stable and I feel nice and secure. So I'll play the first line really slowly and we'll try and take those things on board. So here I am with my low G in place, and I'm going to go play, rest, play, rest, thumb, rest, rest. So I hope you could see the way in which the thumb was going between different strings. Firstly playing and then resting. Now another thing about this arrangement in teaching it, I've noticed that a lot of people are tempted to hang on to this low G string 6 fret 3 throughout most of the first line, or indeed even a lot of the arrangement, because you keep on going back to that note, so maybe it makes sense. But the thing is, what you'll find is that generates quite a lot of tension in the hand. So remember that the bass notes need to last for the bar in which they're sounded, but then release them. So from the beginning, I can prepare it now, play, but when I go here, you can see I'm lifting that note away. I then have an open D. If I kept that held down, I'm going to generate more tension than I need in this left hand. And there's actually a risk of this second finger causing that first finger to contract and maybe block a string. So just remember, just do the work which you need to do. Okay, so let's hear from the first line again. See the way the thumb's resting? Lift away 2. Finger 3 going to go down here. Finger 2, so let's look at bar 7. There's a bit of quite complex right hand fingering there. I played this. Now what you've noticed is I've got these repeated E's, that string 4 fret 2. And what I did with my right hand is I played the first with the index and the second with the thumb. Bit of a fiddly technique, everything is quite tight here, but I like the sound because the one I play with the thumb is a stronger sound than the one I play with the finger. You get an accent, and that's on the third beat of the bar, the strong beat. I think it gives it a nice rhythmic lilt. You could play it with 2 fingers as well if that's easier, but probably worth practicing that technique. Now you'll have noticed that I played the first part twice. The first part was in G major, and on the repeat I added some ornamentation. Those are the kind of rapid notes you'd have heard. They're easier than they sound. They're not more difficult than they sound, they're easier than they sound. And there's some basic techniques I can show you. Let's look at bar 6. So this is actually bar 5. Going into bar 6 here. So I did a hammer on there, a legato, onto the A. And all I did was I struck the 3rd string, and I imagine that this first finger arrives a bit late. So rather than going together, I get the open string, and the first finger comes down a bit late. We can be really relaxed with the way we hit this. You need a minimal amount of effort. Just make sure you're close to the fret and have a nice curved finger shape. So that was one figure. You can do another one there. There's also the mordant, which is when you play, for example, an open string. You hit the note above an A, and then you pull off again. Again, it's about keeping the hand relaxed. You'll find a minimal effort will work. You just tap the finger onto the string close to the fret, and rather than pulling hard downwards, just make a very slight circular motion with the finger. So I'm going round and round like that. And you'll get that second note. So just practice those slowly in isolation and they'll come out. And there's loads of places where you can add those. And I did so kind of spontaneously there. And that's the spirit I think is really, really nice to do. And then we have the second page. Now the second page did a bit of a Eurovision modulation. It went from G major, upper tone to A major. It's worth saying that if you wanted to, you could just play the first page. The piece is complete, but if you want to make it longer, you can play it again in another key. And you can see this page as being basically arranged around 3 chord shapes, A, D, and E. 1, 4, 5, 1. So you've got 3 chord shapes. You can think of it that way, but I would say sometimes when players are used to playing chords, they often end up holding down more than they need to. And also a fingering of, say, an A chord in this arrangement, sometimes we're playing these 2 notes with fingers 2 and 3, and there are other times where it makes more sense to use fingers 1, 2, the same notes but different fingering. it's all marked on the score, but let me just play through. So I got, you can see I've ended up with an A chord there, and then I can keep the second finger. You'll notice my thumb is still resting on other strings after I played the bass note. Now I'm putting my second finger, string 1, fret 2, that's an F sharp, because I can put my first finger there and that feels like a D chord, although there's no need to hold down that note there. Now when I come back to what's fundamentally an A shape, you can see now I have fingers 1 and 2 rather than 2 and 3. That's because this first finger was here on the A, string 3, fret 2 a moment ago, so it makes sense to keep it there. Now here you can add a pull off, excuse me. So I played the first note, very gentle pull off, needs to sound spontaneous, or you can play the 2. It's up to you. The pull off is that same technique, just pull the string slightly downwards with the very tip of your finger. An important thing here, I must end up with my index on this A, string 3, fret 2, because then this F sharp here, that's string 4, fret 4, it's much easier to get with finger 3. So if you ended up with finger 2 on the A, you'd end up on a pinky, which is possible but much less comfortable. So do think about that. As I said, the fingering's marked in the score. And then we carry on. Important moment here. Put my first finger on an A here, string 3, fret 2, and I'm going to swivel around that finger. I'm going to use it as a kind of landmark to find this fret 5. So that does 2 things. Firstly, it helps me have a kind of a tactile reference point, but also we like the resonance of that note, so you have octave A's. Let me play you from bar 26 with the upbeat. Still resting that thumb. Here's my index, swivel. Okay, so it's much easier to find that note. That pull-off's coming again. Index finger, finger 3 for the F sharp, and the final chord, take your time. It's just to mark the ending. So that's a nice simple arrangement of Auld Lang Syne. Lovely for your family events, for your parties and so forth, but also if you're submitting pieces for an exam. I know that nowadays you can do video exams with free choice pieces. If you're looking for something at grade 2 kind of level, this could be an ideal piece, either the whole thing or just page 1. Hope so much you've enjoyed this. If you'd like to hear more arrangements for solo guitar, ensemble guitar, all sorts of levels of difficulty, complexity, experience required, go to www.danjonesguitarist.com. I'm also an author. I've written a book about being a guitarist in rural France. Have a look at www.danjonesauthor.com. If it's your festive season, have a blessed one and have a great day whatever time of year it is. Hope to hear from you. Please like, share, subscribe, all those things. Have a great day. Bye-bye.